Welcome back to another episode of Obliterated Companion. I'm Peter. You guys, a very special interview today. I am joined by Emmy nominated composers, Zach Robinson and Leo Birenberg. Congratulations, you guys. I haven't been able to say that to you guys face to face, so to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a wild year. We are stoked about it.
Peter, you forgot also Grammy nominated.
Oh, what is that?
Wow,
is
Zach.
that go ahead. Hey, so tell me about that. My apologies.
Wow, you really should be incredibly sorry and apologetic.
Yeah.
It's for the Weird Al movie as well. So we got nominated for an Emmy for Weird Al movie for music composition, and then we got nominated for a Grammy for what is it? Visual best compilation
It's the best
soundtrack.
compilation soundtrack album for visual media.
There you go.
Oh, okay. See, so I don't know, what was the term? Naive or just these terms, they are that fucks me up. So yes, Grammy and Emmy nominated. You guys have been doing a lot, man. Like the Weird Al, we covered that. It was a bonus episode on the Cobra Kai Companion because Watch Party and I, we reviewed the movie. But you guys also did
Fun.
Twisted Metal, so I had Twisted Metal Companion. So show run by Michael Jonathan Smith. Awesome show, and love you guys' work on that as well. But yeah, we just keep bumping into each other, quite literally. Like the last time, well, the one time that we bumped into each other in person was at Paley Fest shortly before we got kicked out of the auditorium. I guess we were loitering or something. And so I guess that's why we didn't get a picture because we were getting kicked out.
That's
Oh,
too
did we
bad.
not have a picture? We need a picture.
I was saying the same thing, like, cause I got a picture with like Zach Arnold and Matea Green, one of the writers of Cobra Kai. And then I turned around and I was like, oh shit, Zach and Leo. And then, like, I think we were just, kind of doing the hello thing before we got escorted out, time to leave kind of thing. But yeah, that was a fun time. Obliterated. So I don't know how this works. Is it a thing where like John, Josh, and Hayden is like, you guys, we want you for this next project?
Yes, that is exactly
Yes.
how it works. They told us about it like way, way early.
I remember when they told us about it. They told us about it, Leo. They told us about it at the final episode dub for season 2 of Cobra Kai.
Okay, that tracks.
Right.
Because it was supposed to be on TBS.
Right,
Right, like 4 years ago.
Right, which would have been a totally different show, and thank God history happens the way it happens. But yeah, we've been talking to this about them since, or we've been talking with them about this since 2018, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Because I think 2019 is when the announcement came out. TBS, Obliterated, 10 episodes at the time. But yeah, I think I'm just glad that, Cobra Kai made that move to Netflix because then it just made all the sense in the world and, to kind of make a return to Hard R. So let's talk about this. Like, so take off your composer hats, right? What do you guys, tell me you guys' thoughts of the show Obliterated. What did you think about it?
I think it's brilliant. It's like one of my favorite things I've ever worked on. But even if I was just watching it, like conceptually, it goes so hard, which is like, Zach and I just automatically like things that go hard. It taps into a lot of things we grew up with, these like 90s action movies and early 2000s like raunchy comedies, and just mashes them up. I don't know. It has evil Russians. Like that's the ideal movie scenario to me, is like anything with evil Russians immediately goes to the top of the list. I think one reason that this country has so much political tension is because we don't have enough just like evil Russian movies to take out the aggression on like a big bad that is like that. I think that actually like helps our national character a bit. Yeah, I think it's a slam dunk. I love it.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite character?
Oh boy. Trunk. I love Trunk.
I think
What about you,
mine's
Zach?
Paul. Paul, probably.
Okay. What? Why Paul?
That's because Zach is Paul.
Yeah, that's because
Okay.
I am Paul. I go to bed at like 9.
You order a
Yeah,
plate muffin.
I just think,
And you tweak out if you eat too many edibles.
oh, that is incredibly true.
I think that's
That is
anybody.
very, very true. I'm not Leo. If I think that, like, yeah, I relate a lot to Paul. What I like about Paul is the slow build into his comedy, and that it really is just like, you know, every episode is just a very, very small incremental build, and it's just so funny to me. And then the kind of like release in episode 7 where he hugs the gremlin, it just cracked me up. I think the gremlin joke is like the funniest thing in the whole show.
Yeah, the gremlin is honestly probably the best character. So,
And Jason Bantzoukas brings it every time.
Oh,
Another
yeah.
project, Twisted
Yeah.
Metal, to kind of take it back to that a little.
I know, yeah, he showed up in that too. When we read about the gremlin, because we read the scripts or the first couple, and I remember texting Leo, and I was like, wait to get to the end of episode 2. Like, there's some wild shit at the end of episode 2. I loved it.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah, I guess Zach, I can relate a little bit with the edibles thing. That's not my go-to, but I for the first time I tried one of those THC drinks recently, and the bud tender was. Well, the bud tender said it's like smoking a nice bowl, and I was like, oh, okay. So I drank the whole can. And then, like 45 minutes later, I'm like laying in the middle of the bed, living room floor in the fetal position.
Oh my God! And you have kids, right? Were they like, Dad, what's up?
Well, they weren't home, so my dad and we went to go do some work on this house that we're helping prepare to sell. And I'm like, Dad, I drank one of those THC drinks, and my head is spinning. And he's like, go lay on the floor. So I went to go lay on the floor, and I just curled up for like
Wow.
30 minutes, feeling bad that I left my dad alone just to do some work. But yeah, you gotta be careful with some of those edibles, man, because it's not like smoking. Completely different, you don't know when it'll hit.
You don't have to tell me, dude. It's all good.
Yeah. You guys, I really, really love the score to Obliterated. A lot of that music, I was heavy into your trance, your break beats. We talked a little bit about that during season 2 of Cobra Kai, with like I think it was episode one or two, where there's where like Robbie's like painting the fence. I'm forgetting the title of that track. That was kind of like
Miyagi-Do
famous 90s freestyle. That's the one. So like listening to this, I'm like, yes, this is the type of stuff that I was listening to in my 20s. The trance, the house music. So like, so this is yours' field. What's the difference of all of those terms? It's EDM now. It used to be like trance and house. What were the difference in all those genres?
Well, EDM just
there's
kind of
so
covers all of them, like, because I think too many genres came into existence, so they needed a way to organize them all under one umbrella, which is EDM. But as you pointed out, like, there's like trance music. Trance music sounds nothing like psytrance music, which sounds nothing like drum and bass music, which sounds nothing like big beat or like happy hardcore, or there's like literally hundreds of subgenres of EDM and subgenres to the genres of EDM. And like, I think what we wanted to do on this project was kind of go on our own exploration of all of those styles, of which we are fans of many, but also like, we have a lot of music to keep track of. So sometimes it's fun to just be like, I'm going to spend a couple months just like listening to EDM, like nothing but EDM. And so we just wanted to reflect kind of all of it to set up this Vegas soundscape. And I think what worked really well about it is that those genres of music are kind of very inherently cinematic, and because they are meant to be danced to and party to, they're all designed around builds. And the entire show is just a series of builds and one giant build, because you are racing against the ticking clock to when the bomb's going to blow up. And so that was something that actually John, Josh, and Hayden mentioned to us really early on, was that they wanted to incorporate like an EDM thing, but they didn't know how it could be achieved, because they felt like that style of music really emphasized the like forward momentum of the ticking clock that is the heartbeat of the show. And so we just took that and ran with it, and they pretty much let us try anything. And so our music just got progressively more ridiculous the more we worked on it.
Yeah. I was able to narrow down 5 tracks that I really like, and if you guys can give some insight. And actually, before we get to that, when you guys are like, composing music for sequences and scenes and stuff like that, is there anything where you guys have like some visual cues that may play into where like a beat drops or things like that? Because I feel there was a little bit of that in Cobra Kai as well.
That's the whole job, man. That's like our whole job is finding places where, like, especially with this type of music, where like which beat, where the beat drops at what part, like, especially like, well, with Cobra Kai 2, it's like, what's the first punch that the cue really starts on?
Right.
We decide that a lot. And like on this one, I mean, every episode has a lot of moments where we have to anchor these hits somewhere in the music. And that's really where scoring a scene becomes so special, because it actually, I think it kind of emphasizes our voices as composers too. I think where we choose to spot the music at certain places, that's a very that's a very objective thing. Like anyone can have different answers to that. So we have a lot of fun deciding. Like, I'm thinking of the shootout in episode 5. We call it a round of shots on the album, but like I'm just thinking of that. Like that whole thing is a shootout for 2 minutes, but we had to decide kind of where to come in hard on, and then what beats and camera shots to like emphasize. But yeah, I think the fun thing was also us deciding what subgenre of like EDM we wanted to deploy for like a certain scene. And like Leo probably has an example. The one that comes to mind for me is like when Gomez is flying in episode 3 on the zip line, and we wanted to do something very like euphoric, like kind of like poppy trance. Like, she's looking, it's like almost like it really felt like as the DJ's booth was lighting up right before the drop. And like, that's how we played it.
Like a Alice DJ song or something.
Yeah, sure. Yes. Like an Alice DJ song, or like, even, I don't know, like I was thinking of just like, there are all these raves in LA, like that I don't go to anymore. But the ones that, I don't know, like, yeah, just trance, just like super trancey rave style.
Yeah, no, a lot of the music, it transports me back to my days in the military. So I told John, I was like, no, I love the show. This reminds me of my 20s, active duty. We were getting into all types of trouble. I had parties like that. Mine, sans the camel. Like, so.
No camels?
No camels. Couldn't find camels in Kansas, in Fort Riley, Kansas. But, all the, some of the pills, were all there, and binkies, for the mouth chewers, and all of that. Yeah, some of you guys know what I'm talking about here. But tell me about you guys' acronym PACE.
PACE? P-U-E.
Pew.
Pew is our acronym.
Is PACE one of the? Is P?
PACE is what P stands.
PACE is one of them.
My bad, you guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, PUE is that was our heartbeat for whenever we made any decision. We thought, what's the PUE? Pace, urgency, energy. And like every single cue has those things. Like literally, like the energy just never stops in the whole show. It's constantly pushing you forward. Even the emotional scenes, I feel like, are scored with an urgency that, I don't know, doesn't break the flow of the ticking clock.
I was thinking about how there was a funny, before we started on the score, before we started on the score in general, you always hear like everyone and their parents' thoughts on what the score should be. So, obviously John, Josh, and Hayden is our North Star, but then, you have to like hear what the studio has to say, what Netflix has to say, like whatever. So everyone has an opinion. And the big thing was that they really wanted this to not just feel like a generic action movie score. So we said, great, like we're going to use like EDM elements and we're going to make it our own thing. So 2 episodes in, everyone's loving the score. And now we're like, okay, me and Leo are like, we're going to go even harder now that everyone likes this stuff. Now you've unleashed the beast and like we're gonna go really hard. So episode 3, we really like talk about PUE. Like that episode is like constant music, and the music is very intense even when they're just like walking around, because we just wanted to keep the tension up. And I remember one of the notes came back from the studio, which is common. And one of the notes was just like, okay, like, can we like tone down the music? Like it's going a little bit too hard. And I remember John just being like, no. Like John was just like, no, like we're good. Everyone's good. We like the music. But it really is up front and center a lot in this show. It is constant.
Yeah, no, I mean, Eugene, who plays Paul, loves it, for working out. He's a bit of a gym rat there. And so, he's a big fan of your guys' work here. 52 tracks, you guys, like, is it easier than it sounds? I mean, when I looked at the track listing, and I know that, there's a lot of, different tracks that, also take like the main melody from Obliterated. The track Obliterated, kind of like
Right.
in Cobra Kai with Johnny's story. So I guess how do you guys decide when you want to use like a rendition of that melody from the Obliterated track or the theme?
On this show, I feel like it was pretty straightforward. Like Cobra Kai has like hundreds of themes, dozens, maybe not hundreds, but like there are a lot of choices to be made over like narratively kind of what we want the music to appeal to thematically in a scene. Obliterated, we kind of made the conscious effort that like we're gonna have one melody that's for the team, and like they're always the heroes. No one's like switching sides. So like we're just gonna pound that theme, and so we use it everywhere. It's kind of a one theme show. There were other themes, like the Russians have a theme, and Lana ends up having a theme, or Anastasia has a theme, and Maddox kind of has a theme that's like this synth thing, but they're all sort of secondary to just like the team's theme, and so it was more about finding settings to kind of reinterpret that theme than it was to like come up with new themes.
Right. And you know what? When you just said Lana, like, why don't we just call her like Lana Stasia? Like it just
Lana
shipped herself.
Stasia.
Yeah, it's the same person. Yeah. Okay. Now the name game, basically, like, I know sometimes like it's pretty obvious that like the track just may be like a line of dialogue, but how do you guys come up with other titles, like, for example, here, how Paul learned to stop worrying and love the bomb.
That's one of the best ones.
It is.
That's one of the best.
That was actually the name while we were working on it, or actually it was the name for a different related scene, and then we used it for that one in the for the album. We had a lot of fun naming this one because we wanted as many America puns and drug use puns as possible. And so I don't know, Zach, like what's your favorite album title?
I can tell you what my favorite, and it's one that isn't either of those things. And my favorite is A Cold Winter's Morning. Is like,
I like that
maybe like the best, and I'm gonna take credit for it. It was like literally like I still am like just smirk to myself about it because no one else cares except for me. I think it is so good. It's just incredible. What an amazing pun. We used ChatGPT for a few of them.
Okay.
But ChatGPT didn't want to give us a lot of
it won't do drug stuff, so
we got a few.
See? That's why humans are better.
It gave us a starting point.
Red, White, and Rolling was with a ChatGPT answer.
Oh, really?
That's a good track too. I like that track. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys my top.
Yeah, tell us your top 5
and whatever insights you can give. Okay, so Party Bus, both versions.
Okay,
Love Party Bus. Every time I hear Party Bus, I want to be Terry Crews in White Chicks. Where he's got the whistle and he's got the glow sticks and he's out there. that's what Party Buzz does for me. I think I just found my new video to post on the gram. Viva Vlad Vegas. I like that one. There's a little bit of that melody in the beginning too, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Number three, Gomez Hits the Gym. I like that one.
Okay.
We mentioned how Paul. Oh, that was in parentheses just because of like the long title. So, an earnest moment between a man and a gremlin. So, really love that one. And my number five is Out of My Hands. Now, that one, like, there's a few different parts where like I have to keep looking at the track list. I'm like, oh, it's the same song still. And so like the middle of it, there's like some strings and like some very light percussions that really stood out to me. So like that middle part, I really like Out of My Hands.
Nice. I mean, we can talk briefly about these going backwards, I guess, but like Out of My Hands is in the finale. It's that is actually on the album. It's you're right. It's a few cues in the show put together. Like we approached that separately and then kind of stitched it together for the album. But that is when they've after the big battle on the roof and Anastasia is about to give up what the nuke code is, and then you discover the nuke's not there. And then it takes us into the casino where we find it. But yeah, that one is a fun one. It's just like this kind of starts out as like this emotional plea from Ava basically to tell us where the bomb is. And then it turns into this like, scary kind of tense moment, and then a heroic, we use our Obliterated theme in like a very kind of like uplifting EDM way with big orchestra playing. And it's funny, I actually just watched the show and I forgot that there's just like dialogue under the entire thing, so they had to like duck it. Like that's another thing. It's like normally like when you're scoring something, if there's dialogue all the time, that you're kind of taught to like stay out of it a little more with the music, so that you don't have to turn down the music so much, and you can just that we ignored that for this show.
Yes.
So no one said anything else. So what was backward? What was the Gremlin?
Yeah, Gremlin and Gomez Hits the Gym. We could just stick with that in Party Bus just because you guys also worked with Benny.
Okay, so the Gremlin, that's like the culmination of Paul's Gremlin storyline. And I don't even know what inspired that scene, but we were just thinking like it needs to be as in the way that this show kind of nods to all these 90s action movies. There's like a different kind of 90s score that like I guess we wanted to like tap into a bit there, which is a little more like
our Weird Al score.
Yeah, it's kind of Forrest Gumpy, but then it's also kind of like Bravehearty. Like there's this sense of relief when he hugs the gremlin that is akin to I don't know, like Mel Gibson getting drawn and quartered and like screaming freedom. It's like something about that equates to me, at least. And we just kind of, I mean, that cue is a total one-off. It doesn't sound like anything else in the score. And so we just kind of like went insane and wrote it. But the funniest part is going with the Braveheart thing. We finished the cue and then we turned it in. And then I like listened to it. And then I just randomly was like, I think we should add some penny whistle to this. So I like reopened the file and like played penny whistle over the top of the end when he like hugs the gremlin. And it's just like buried there in the mix, but it makes it like extremely 90s.
It's truly crucial. It's unbelievable, actually. That's like one of my favorite details in the entire
bit of a nod to The Rock too, because there's all that like weird Irish shit in the Rock score.
The score to The Rock. Anyone that's listening to this should listen to the score to The Rock and should watch The Rock if you have not seen it. It is a very important movie for Obliterated people to
also just for cultural
understand.
literacy.
Yes.
Also, like the melody for the Obliterated theme also kind of reminds me of like Terminator a little bit, kind of.
Great.
Yeah. It has the same first couple of notes. It's going up the minor scale, da-da-da, and then Terminator goes, da-da-da. Yeah, I remember we played something for Josh. We did not realize that, and then we played something for Josh like 3 months in. He goes, "Yeah, you guys like totally crushed the Terminator vibe," and then I was like fuck. Like,
Yeah,
and then
like
I remember
you
telling
can't
me,
copyright
I was
three
like,
notes.
Leo, we have to, let's sing Terminator. Like, did we just fucking rip this off? And it's not, they're different. But the first three notes
Yeah.
going up the minor scale happens. It happens in every single thing.
Yeah, yeah. It's I'm sure it's very common with music, you know.
There's only 12
Uh,
Yeah.
notes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe you. I believe you. Let's see. Okay, so Zach, I think didn't you share your favorite track? Right? You said the one with the word morning in it. Was that your
Oh, that
That's
favorite
his
was my
track of
favorite
the
favorite
track
video?
pun. That's my
title.
favorite pun. That's my favorite track
Oh,
title.
oh, got it. What is your favorite track from the soundtrack?
Oh man. I don't know. I really love well, I love it's called White Russian on the
Oh yeah.
soundtrack. And I love that one because I feel like it is super, super emblematic of like what the score to Obliterated is. And I've always thought that. And I've just felt like if you press play on it and it starts immediately with like a psytrance beat and then the strand, the orchestra. And like I was like, that's Obliterated. And of course it's like it's just like there's nothing
It's also
crazy
catchy as
happening on
fuck.
screen. It's very catchy. We don't use that a ton, that melody. And then I love Countdown to Oblivion,
Oh yeah, that's a
which
good
is
one.
the final that's Haggerty defusing the bomb when it kind of goes into slow-mo. And I think this is a little like knowledge for you, but like the original idea for that scene was they were going to play Feeling Good through that whole thing. And we recorded Lindsey Kraft doing Feeling Good, like the whole song. We did the whole song. And then I think when they were in the editing room, they wanted it to feel more kind of like, I think it was always going to be kind of like this in the moment for Haggerty thing where like everything kind of goes in slow mo and like you're kind of in his head. And they kept that, but I don't remember what happened. But I think our music editor, Andres Loxy, they were all just playing around with this scene a little bit. And he temped something in that had a very similar vibe where it kind of like the whole world went in slow mo. And he used a score piece because maybe he didn't even have Feeling Good available. And they loved it so much that they were like, oh, let's go in that direction. And I'm like so grateful that they did that because I think that
Seriously.
Countdown to Oblivion is just like some of our best work on the show. And I've had a lot of people tell me, including my mom, tell me that like during that sequence, like that is like some cinematic shit. And like that is what we're all about, right? So
That's
like
what we're all about here.
that's
Yeah.
what we're all about. And I think we're even going to release next week like a little kind of music, like showing the orchestra play that cue because we love it so much.
And how many members
What's
do you guys have in that
yeah.
orchestra? Like 80?
Yeah, I was
It might be
probably
a little smaller. It might be a little smaller than Cobra Kai because we didn't use any winds.
yes, it's
It's
just
still pretty
strings and
big.
brass.
It was big.
But it was a big brass section, like large.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. What's your favorite, Leo?
White Russian is also way up there for the same reason Zach said. I just feel like that was like, again, that's also in the third episode. The third episode, we just went like, I felt like even though there's a lot of great stuff in 1 and 2, Party Bus, for example, it was episode 3 where I think we fully felt like we knew what our concept was and started like executing. Like we had figured out how to score the show for the first 2 episodes. And then episode 3, which is basically just this long them following Litvin around the casino. And eventually to like the warehouse. I don't know. It all clicked for us. And so we have some huge sequences in there. White Russian and also this other one called Eyes on the Douchebag, which is like, that's the first time we really tried to do like psytrance as scoring and like figured out this kind of like kick bass thing and how to interact the orchestra with it. And it made for like a really pretty cool stylized sequences. They were like entering the casino that was not there before we kind of started using that score like that. And so I don't know. Those two cues are, I just think, special process wise to me.
As we get ready to wrap up, is there something like a musical Easter egg in any of these tracks that you want people to kind of go back and listen for? I don't know if that's a thing.
Yeah, there's a bunch of me and Zach singing in Russian on a couple of the tracks.
I was wondering about some of those, yeah, some of the lyric, the dialogue, I guess, in some of the songs.
Yeah, that's a lot of it is us. The party bus is our friend Kate, who actually recorded it on her iPhone for us. We were just like,
Nice.
hey, we have this crazy idea. We think your voice is right. Can you just chant these lyrics into your phone and send it back, and we'll see if it works out? And then and then she sent it back, and it like immediately worked amazing.
Well, there was no tweaking of her voice at all.
No, not really.
Oh wow, I gotta go back and listen. Oh, that's amazing.
What other funny? Actually, Gomez Hits the Gym has some good vocals from Zach
All
on
right,
there.
crank it up.
Crank,
Oh yeah,
crank it up.
crank
I
it
Oh,
up,
love
that's
that.
Zach.
crank it up. Also, we're on round of shot doing like a British. That's us doing like our best British UK big beat. Like, let's get this part. I'm not doing the British accent on here, but let's get this party started. Let's keep this party going. Is us doing British accent?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
why not?
basically, if there's lyrics, it's us.
Now, okay, so Grammy and Emmy award nominees. When are these award shows where people can kind of tune in and hope that you guys go home with the statues?
Oh, the Emmys is the beginning of January, and I think the Grammys is the beginning of February.
That's
Oh, damn, so
correct.
in the first quarter,
And there's
first quarter
no,
2024.
yeah, there's no, I mean, we've been nominated for the Emmy since July and they kept pushing it because of the writer's strike. So,
Right.
it's been a long time, but I don't even know if there's a way for our categories are not televised for either one. There might be something where like on FXX or something like that, they're doing the Creative Arts Emmys, which is where the
Right.
music is. But, I don't know. I guess, yeah, you'll have to look at our Instagrams and see if we won or lost.
Well, we'll definitely be tuning in, and I'm sure there's going to be some, yeah, like you said, there's going to be some sort of televised version of it somewhere. Maybe like official social medias and stuff like that. But we'll keep an eye out, you guys. Definitely crossing our fingers for that, gentlemen, Grammy and Emmy Award nominees.
Hey man, we got to do it, you know?